Boys, we're back. Welcome back to the FFS Football Podcast. I am joined with Matt and Chris. How you doing, boys?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Right.
Yeah, lots happened in the time of our last podcast. We're missing Jack again, which I will have words with, because I don't know where the man is. We need him in the chat to speak Burnley. But yeah, lots happened. We've had a transfer window that's completed. We've had 7 games now, is it, in the Championship? Yep. 6 and 7 games.
Yeah.
And we're approaching 5 or 6 games in the Premier League as well. Europa League and Europa Conference and Champions League have all kicked off. Lots of exciting stuff to talk about. And we're going to kick off the first part of the podcast with probably one of the most controversial things to happen in a long time. And that is the VAR. What an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Who'd like to start?
Well, seeing as a lot of it's been in the Premier League and we don't have VAR in the Championship, I'll let one of you two sort of take the reins on this one.
Okay, let me go first.
Over.
Sorry?
I can't see myself over. The screen's blank up in the...
That's fine. It is on my screen. It's fine.
I can see you.
All right, fine.
So West Ham played against Chelsea on Saturday afternoon, and there was an absolute ridiculous decision that everyone, I'd say 90% of the pundits in the Premier League, the referees even, have come out and said how poor the decision was. Obviously, there were some other ones around the time. There was the Liverpool, which should have had a red card for Van Dijk.
Yeah.
The push on the Newcastle player into the goalkeeper, horrendous decision that got given a free kick to the goalie. That's another point another incident that should have happened, and the goal should have stood with Newcastle. And then obviously you got the Jared Bowen one that he jumped over the goalkeeper, and part of his laces of his trailing, they clipped the top of Mendy, who was on the floor. Yeah. If a goalkeeper comes, if a 12, 14 stone goalkeeper comes running out of you and slides to the floor to claim the ball, which, by the way, he parries away out of control at the point of Jared Bowen going over him, then you're gonna get a little bit of contact, albeit just a clip. Goalkeeper, you're going to get, you go into that job as a goalkeeper knowing that you might get hurt, even if it's completely unintentional, just to get the ball. Yeah. You're putting your body on the line, basically. How is that any different of putting your face on the line for the ball to stop it? It really isn't, that's their job. If you're not a brave person as a goalkeeper, you won't make it professionally. You've got to be that level of bravery to even get through the academy system. Yeah, so, Mendy doing what he did is a natural thing for a goalkeeper to do. Jared Bowen doing what he did when a big geezer's coming at you, rolling on the floor, you're going to jump over him. Mm-hmm. And I, to this day, don't know what they have seen to warrant that being a foul in any way, shape or form.
Well, the referee, he continued after the initial jump. The referee continued as the ball was... fell to your player and then you put it into the back of the net, and the referee was fine with it. I don't understand why VAR or the official behind VAR sort of recommended the referee go and have a look at the screen, because
go and have a look at the screen. It just didn't make sense.
There was no issue there. There was no foul to look at. It was like you said, there was no foul in the build up. He jumped over him. The balls continued to stay in play. West Ham score a perfectly good goal. It should be 2-2, and you should be walking away from Stamford Bridge with a point apiece, but unfortunately, VAR and poor officiating have done you out of a point.
I was just so angry, Matt. Honestly, it's quite bad. I was in the living room and I had my little one in there with my wife, right? And she can see how angry I've got my phone and I'm launching it at the sofa, I'm thumping it, and then she started copying me. She's only 16 months old. She started copying me, punching the sofa. My wife's gone, out, get out. So, because my daughter's copying me. But I was just so angry. My emotions were just so, because to me, I felt cheated.
Well, you will. I mean, anyone
it's different.
It's different because you're a West Ham fan anyway. But anyone in that situation, as a football fan, is a joke, because VAR is brought in to sort of eradicate the basic human errors,
human error. Yeah.
And, this weekend has been the worst for VAR, and
it's got to be.
I think there's been just too many incidents in one weekend.
Yeah.
Usually it's spread over a few matches over a couple of weeks, and there's been so many over this last game week.
It's been dreadful.
It's just dreadful decision making, not just on the rest part, but on VAR. Someone sitting in a booth should be able to see that and control that, and not have to go to the referee. I mean, I'll say United got a good VAR decision for us against Arsenal, where originally I didn't think it was actually. I thought it was a bit of a soft tackle.
I still think it was soft. I think in the law, the letter of the law says that, all right, it's a foul. But 10, 15 years ago,
when you watch watch that tackle through in proper speed, it doesn't look like a foul. But when you do watch it in the slow motion, you do see his knee clip. So I can see why he's told the ref to go and see it. And the ref did take an extra long time, I think, to look at that decision.
Yeah.
I think it was a right decision, but I think it was a bit of a soft tackle.
This is a problem, isn't it? With VAR, because they go back and they review the footage from different angles, and it's always slowed down, slow motion. It makes everything look 10, 20 times worse than what it actually was.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I mean, is this the third full season now with VAR?
Yeah.
In the modern game in England, and we're always talking about it in such a negative way when it was meant to help the game, help the officials come to the right conclusions, the right decisions, and unfortunately, here we are again talking about it like basic errors that it shouldn't be making.
It should be.
I still think
be used for just offside.
In the game.
It should just be used for offside, because offside is black and white now. You know, if your toe or your shoulder is in front of the defenders, then it's offside. It's done. You know, we've kind of come to terms of how ridiculous that is.
I think half of the game, good part of watching a good old-fashioned game of football was the fact that there was just a ref. His decision was final. You could hate it if you wanted, but then there's not some other guy in a box who you can hate as well who you've never seen.
Yeah, but that's the problem, though. These guys in a box are either former referees or current referees that should know the game. But this is what we were talking about this yesterday, weren't we, in the group chat? And I think the problem is, and I think a lot more people are becoming more aware of it now, is that these referees they're going by rule books. They're not former footballers, so they don't understand what it's like to play the game. That's why I think it's imperative that down the line we bring in former footballers who's played the game, who know what is for example, a natural arm position when you're jumping for a ball, or
you're right, Matt. But we're not footballers. We've all played football at amateur level, but we're not footballers. But we know what the fucking right and wrong is. We know whether that's offside or not offside. We know whether he's jumped over him or not jumped. They don't bring any common sense into the game, and it makes you wonder whether they're just really fucking shit at their job. Because the actual system, you can't blame the 8 to 10 camera angles, because you can Aaron Cresswell's against Tottenham's the other day.
Tottenham,
right?
Yeah.
The handball thing that we got given the penalty. The referee gave the penalty because from his point of view, Cresswell handballed it, and I can say, do you know what? From his point of view, it did look like a handball. Yeah. But the VAR showed that it hit his head and missed his arm completely, so they scrapped it. Which I think is fine, great. You've proven that isn't the case. With this, like you can tell, is it Willock that gets pushed into the fucking goalkeeper?
Yeah.
You can see the geezer fucking pushing him into the goalie. How is a referee that's paid probably 80 grand a year to do this job, at least, looked at that camera angle and gone, yeah, he's jumped into the goalkeeper there?
Well, it's not that. I mean, if you don't give the goal to Newcastle, you bring it back for a penalty to Newcastle because he's been pushed in the back.
Yeah, but how have they not seen the push? This is just what I mean. What are they fucking even looking at?
It's because the rule states that when a goalkeeper has been touched in the box, the game has to be stopped in case of an injury to the goalkeeper. Because obviously, it'd be unfair to carry on playing the game if the goalkeeper is injured. And I think that I was watching Ref Watch this morning on Sky Sports News, and Dermot Gallagher, the former Premier League referee, he said the only he didn't agree with the decision, by the way, like for West Ham. He said,
I saw that. Yeah,
it should have been goal, but he said that the only thing he can think of the man behind the VAR room he probably thought that because the goalkeeper looked injured. I mean, Mendy knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He fainted. He faked being injured to get the cameras on him, so it looked like a foul. And I think that's what the referee and the officiating behind VAR sort of.
Oh, he's played it. He's played it proper.
Yeah,
but
the
thing is with the Newcastle situation is that was still in the same gameplay moment.
Yeah.
So there's no way that the goalkeeper could get seen to in the same passage of play of that goal going in.
Yeah.
With the West Ham one, it's slightly different in that respect because there was a good 5 seconds after that happened because the ball parried by Mendy. It fell to Cornet. He took a touch to a wide position, then shot. Great finish, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the Newcastle one was clatter goal. It was a bit different.
Yeah.
So I can see in that respect, if you're going to go down that route, then I can see there's probably more argument for the West Ham one.
Oh, way more for West Ham.
But even so, it's just as black and white for me. And I know that I'm a fan. I know I'm a fan, so I'm going to see it like that. But I also think of like some of the decisions that, like we've had it. Do you know what? I think it's just an agenda against Chelsea because we've had 3 years on the trot. We've had situations. There was one where the player headed the ball into Rice's arm while he was running forward with the ball. That goal got disallowed.
Yeah,
we've had a goal. We had during the pandemic, we had Balbuena sent off because he kicked the ball away and his foot that he kicked the ball away with. I think he clipped Chilwell.
Yeah,
he got sent off for that. And then it's just stupid, ridiculous decisions, and it seems to be all in their favour. Now they've had bad decisions against them, granted, right? But their bad decisions don't. I think their ones are a lot more subjective. They're not necessarily. That's not a foul.
Yeah.
What are they doing? Because any other game, any other league in the world would not give that a foul, because that's just part of football. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing as kicking a football and clipping someone on your follow through as you're kicking the ball.
Yeah. Again, this is what I'll go back to about having former players who's played the game, because they would know if they've intentionally sort of gone through the ball to hurt the man, or if they are literally just going to try and play the ball.
Just trying to play the ball, yeah.
I mean, these referees are not former footballers, but they're being taught in a way, like the rule book says, oh, if it looks that way or you deem it that way, then it's a foul, it's a red card, send it off. But they haven't got the experience of playing the game to know, like, going into that sort of tackle is whether gone there with malice or purely just to sort of play the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. It just really. Do you know? Because that point, I know I'm being optimistic, but that point could be the difference between us finishing 6th and 7th, or fifth and 6th. Or that point could be the difference in another game with two different clubs. That could be the difference between, Steven Gerrard losing his job at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And or even worse, like end the season, that 1 point for a different club could be the difference between staying in the Premier League or being relegated back to the Championship.
100%. And this is what needs to be ironed out. We need to scrap VAR for other stuff. Only use it for the.
It needs to be simplified.
Simplified, definitely.
Yeah,
I do like all the memes coming out of Richarlison though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When he had his goal disallowed, whipped his top off, run around the field, and then got his goal disallowed. I got a yellow card for it.
He's a dick though, isn't he? I can't stand him. Like, he's a tackle, but he's a fucking bellend, isn't he?
He is a bellend. Right. I think let's just quickly discuss the goal line technology one, Matt. It was in your league.
Yeah. Again, well, I've seen the footage earlier, and I don't know much you can say about it. It's like we're relying on technology to make the game completely authentic in the sense that, like, those things should never happen. Every goal that goes over the line should be a goal. Technology should tell us that. So when it stops working, who do you turn to? It's like, it's just one of those things. It should never happen. It's shit. But I'm just happy it didn't happen to my club.
I feel like the VAR is making referees lazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that they need to be less reliant on.
I think it's more of an afterthought now. It's like, if I've not caught that, don't worry, VAR's watching. I don't need to keep as close an eye on.
Yeah, it's almost like the referees are lowering their standards to like a Sunday league referee, but without the luxury of having that video replay to back up their say. So if they do fuck it up and the VAR gets it right, they can always change it.
Yeah.
It's almost like having that person there holding your hand the whole time. And I feel like the referees now are actually relying on this VAR far too much, and them actually just believing their own ability. And the fact that the referee let that go tells me that he is good at his job, but the person in the VAR room don't have a fucking clue.
Yeah.
The only sort of sympathy I have with referees, and that's Premier League, Championship, and all the way down the leagues, is that because the rules always seem to change every season. I mean, look at the handball rule. How many times that stopped and changed it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no consistency. So they're trying to learn something new every year, and then obviously old habits sort of kick in. So that's that. I mean, the mistakes they've made and continue to make shouldn't be happening. And the one thing that I think really sticks out for me with VAR more than anything else is that every time they're recommended to look to the screen, the decision's either going to be overturned.
Yeah,
it's like,
definitely.
I mean, in the whole VAR Premier League era, the decision's only been stuck with once when the referee's gone to the screen. Now, it's like the referee's got like, oh, I can't disagree with a fellow official because it made me look bad. Like, at the end of the day, if you truly believe in your heart that the decision you originally made was the correct one, even after seeing it from different angles, like, show some fucking bollocks to stick with your decision.
Yeah,
because you get far more respect for it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that was the thing of refs of old. Like, their decision was final. If they made a decision on that, no one was changing their mind. That was it. They'd done it.
Yeah.
And now there's too much doubt in their mind, thinking, "Oh, well, what will VAR say? Let me go and have a look at that, see if I can change my own mind." Stick with what you think it is.
Yeah, it's like show the guts, like, to go to the screen and look at it. And if you still look at it and think, right, I still believe my original decision was the correct one, then go back, like, just stick with your guns. Like, but because these the people behind VAR, like in the screens, because they're more often than not senior officials, that these younger referees are sort of there could be 15, 20 years difference between the ages. Like, maybe they don't want to feel like, oh, they're undermining the senior officials.
That is exactly what's happening.
Yeah. But that's
I can tell you now.
Like, you can't go through your any job. Like,
yeah,
I mean, if you work
David O'Leary possibly couldn't be wrong.
They might as well just scrap. They might as well scrap VAR and just say, "Do you know what? We're going to go live to Martin Tyler and see what he thinks."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like,
he might have more of a clue.
Do you know what? Sort this out, miking them up, because you can cut out all the bullshit.
Yeah,
I'd love that. I would, but
they do that in the States, don't they?
All the bullshit to go away because they know they're live, so they have to say exactly what they see.
They wouldn't have the bollocks to do that, the FA.
No,
because we know if a piss poor decision came about, like the multiple ones we've had this weekend, and then we hear the referee talking about it, explaining his decision, why he's changed it or gone with the original decision that's wrong, he would get absolutely fucking slaughtered for it.
But they wouldn't.
If he was mic'd up, he'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Can you help me out?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd cut the bullshit though, Matt. You're right, but at the same time, I also don't think this would happen because it would expose their corruptness. So, in my opinion, anyway. Right, let's move on to Haaland, the monster. What a player! First of all, what a beast. Second of all, and thirdly, what an impact he's had on the Premier League already, and my fantasy team.
Seen it coming though.
Yeah, he's in mine as well.
Yeah.
I mean, are we really surprised? Like, I think we said in the last podcast about his numbers.
I am surprised.
You are surprised?
I am surprised because if not, there's nothing worse than people shouting about players that come from abroad. They come over here and do fuck all. Look what happened to Di Maria. Look what happened to Sebastian Veron. Like, a lot. You've got to be a certain. player to come over it. And to be fair, physically, he works because he's got that. He's got that old school set. And do you know what I think works even more special for him is the fact that he's a very old school number 9 style of play.
Yeah.
He loves playing on the back of defenders and making that through ball run. And he's the perfect team to find him. Exactly. But that style of play is dying out now.
Yeah.
Because it's all press.
True number 9s, yeah.
Premier League is all press. And, you're kind of all false 9s now. There's not really many out-and-out strikers anymore. And the ones that do have out-and-out strikers are your Burnleys, are you can say Brentford, your old school teams, not necessarily your top sides.
Tottenham.
Yeah, exactly. Like and Harry Kane, he's an out-and-out number 9, but he plays very, very different defensively because he's not got the pace. So he adapts his game to another way. And he's, to be fair, Harry Kane is incredible at he's assisting and the way he'll bring Son into the game. So he has other skills. But with Haaland, I think the defenders just aren't used to playing against the striker that sort of size, that sort of pace, and that sort of style of play. And it's just ridiculous to watch. Ridiculous.
See, I'm not surprised by him. Like I actually thought he was going to adapt pretty well and pretty quick to the Premier League. I think he's adapted quicker than I thought he would do, and I think the amount of goals that he scored is maybe a bit more than I thought, but it's not far off what I thought he was going to end up scoring in the first couple of weeks.
I guess the amount of goals he scored right now is kind of what the impact I thought that Ronaldo would have, although he did, but Man United weren't really scoring any other goals.
Yeah.
Whereas Man City...
The issue was with United is Ronaldo, as good as he is making his own goals, he does need supplying as well, and there's just not that supply there for him. That's the issue.
No. Yeah.
Whereas the supply is there for Haaland.
Oh, yeah. He's got it on the tap, and constantly.
Well, he can score different types of goals, can't he? I mean, he can left foot, right foot, head. Like you say, he's got pace, he's got power, he's got movement.
He's a complete player.
He's a fox in a box. He knows where to be at the right time. He will score you 30, 40 goals a season in this Man City team, I believe, because he knows where to be at the right time. So he knows where the delivery, where the assists are coming from, so he can be there on time.
Yeah.
And he's not going to touch him and he falls to the floor. You know what I mean? He's not one of them players. He'll hold up a player.
Look, he loves to score goals. He loves
So he's he's basically got the physicality of like Antonio's got, but with like double the ability.
He reads the game well. Like he knows where to be. Like, and obviously he's training with these players day in and day out. So obviously they build up sort of relationships on and off the pitch, and that only helps you as a player. So I mean,
yeah, it's just.
I mean, I understand what you're saying about
22 years old though, and all, mate. 22.
Scary thing, isn't it? Like,
22
15 years if he wanted to.
He's got another 15 years of a career, and he's already scored
just
10 goals in 6 games.
He just looks like a really intelligent player. He knows exactly where the ball is, no matter whether he's got his front of goal, looking back from goal. He knows where that ball is, and he knows where it's coming in from.
Yeah,
just unbelievable.
Absolutely mental. So how many goals do you reckon he's going to score this year? Now we've had a bit more of a hindsight of knowing how many he's scored in 6 games. Is he reaching right? Let's give it. So is he going to get over 35 goals?
Well, obviously.
Okay, is he going to go 30 to 35, 35 to 40, or 40 to 45 goals this year, if you include all competitions?
Oh, all competitions. Then he can easily go 35 to 40. Yeah.
Easily.
Okay. I think he'd get past 30 in the Premier League.
I think he's going 35 at least in the Premier League.
Who currently owns who's got the record so far at the moment? Is it Thierry Henry? Is it someone like Ronaldo that's got the record?
No, for all Premier League goals in a season?
No, in one season, yeah. I think Ronaldo didn't he get in like 2000? Like,
not Ronaldo,
didn't he get
2008-9 season?
Oh, I think you're talking more recently. I think it could be like a Mo Salah or a Luis Suarez. I remember their goal to Liverpool. Luis Suarez for Liverpool. I think the 2013-14 season was mental. I think Salah, his debut season for Liverpool in 2017-18. I think he got something like 34, 35 goals in the Premier League. It's something stupid. I'll have to go back and check, but go and get it up if you can.
Oh, yeah. I've got it. 93, 94.
Yeah.
is 34 goals, which still sits as a Premier League record for most goals in a season. Andy Cole.
Andy Cole.
Oh, really?
Andy Cole.
That's mad.
It was equalised the following year, 94-95, by Alan Shearer at Rovers.
What was Salah's then in 2017-18? Maybe I've got that number. 32. Okay, yeah. So maybe I've got the number from all competitions then.
Ronaldo was in that 2007-8 season was 31.
31.
So he matched Alan Shearer. But second, funnily enough, is Luis Suarez for Liverpool.
Yeah, so I knew the numbers were high.
Harry Kane's about 9th.
Harry Kane's goals are like penalties, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, he's brilliant, Harry Kane.
I think it'd be interesting to know how he's going to do. You know, I reckon I think he'll get into the 35 to 40 category.
Yeah, I really believe
I agree.
And Man City will run away with the league and win it by about a good 15 points.
Yeah, well, I said it in the summer. I didn't think Liverpool were going to be as strong this year. But as soon as they sold Mane, I know they replaced him with Nunes, but that's a different type of player. You know what I mean?
I do still think, though, Matt, that they're going to get second.
I don't see. I
think third they're getting.
Yeah, I honestly think I think Chelsea could be up there a second.
You think they're missing? They're missing Konate. They're missing Diego.
Well, he's come back.
Sorry, Thiago. Thiago. They're missing Matip. They're missing. I can't remember his name. Who's Harvey Elliott? Who's Harvey Elliott replaced at the moment? I'm trying to think who it is. I know Mane is a big miss.
Well, Liverpool's problems are in the midfield. I mean, they're missing Thiago. Henderson's injured. Milner can't go 35 games.
But the issue with them missing Mane is also the service that he used to give to Salah for the goals.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's the press. I mean, that's what Klopp's style of football is pressing, and they haven't got that.
But the thing is with Liverpool, though, they can have an off game and then they can beat someone 9-0. Whereas I don't think Tottenham have got that capacity to do that. Or Arsenal have got that. They've shown that they can't do that. United, they show how up and down they are. I feel like Liverpool, they might have a few off games while they've got a load of it. I don't know. It's all
I do think Liverpool are going to come back in form. Don't get me wrong.
As soon as they start getting players back from injury, and they start
they're still going to be in top 3, but I just can't at the moment. I can't place them second or third yet.
Based on what I saw with Chelsea, I can't place them second or third either, though, because they shouldn't have won that game the other day.
But I still think the points difference between first with Man City and second, third, I think it could easily be 15, 18, 20 points. I
think second at the moment, we've got just purely based on Liverpool's form. I think second to 8th at the moment, right? I'm going to put us in this category because the fact that we've had 2 games on the trot, 1-1 against Spurs, which we should have won based on our chances, and 2-2 against Chelsea, which we should have kept the lead for and had a draw from. That's 2 of them top 4 clubs that are supposed to be there in the season. One of them being home, one of them being away from home. Now, I want to put us in that category of the top 7 clubs because I feel like we deserve to be mentioned as a top 7 club for finishing there twice on the trot, 6th and 7th. So we deserve that, at least to have that phrase to be put in that conversation. Now, why we've got better based on our squad depth now.
Yeah.
Why can't, based on our last 2 games, why can't we, be part of that conversation? I don't think for a second, based on how we are, that we're going to be there. But there's no reason why we can't be part of the conversation saying. Don't think for a second I'm thinking we're going to come second, by the way. This is not where I was going with it. It was more of a case of the fact that you don't think that Liverpool can come second and Chelsea can, based on their performance the other day, because they were fucking dreadful.
Yeah, dreadful. It's like Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool were beaten by United. They deserved to lose against United. Away at Fulham, they drew 2-2, opening game of the season. And if Fulham won that game, no one could have had any complaints. Liverpool were poor.
Yeah.
Right, Liverpool drew against Palace, and they probably deserved to win that game, even with 10 men. But against who did they beat 2-1 last minute midweek? Was it Newcastle? Newcastle deserved something out of that game.
Yeah, they did.
So I mean, they picked up 2 wins out of 6 games so far.
Yeah, the thing is, like I said, they've got a lot of injuries, and I think they might turn their.
Yeah, they come back. They come back.
They're going to come back.
You got to think.
But I think they're going to lose a lot of points before they do. Or
that's
at least,
that's what
you know what I mean. They're going. I don't think they're going to miss out on many 3-pointers, but I think they're going to draw a lot of games.
I think Liverpool talks about as total contenders like Man City. Now, when they get all their players back and they start hitting their peak, if they're sort of 10, 12, 15 points behind Man City at that point, think how damaging that's going to be to you mentally. Like, because you're not they won't say it. It's like the media that come out and say, "Oh, we can keep going." But in yourself, you're not going to claw that back.
But they can. They've done it before, though. So it's not reasonable.
This Man City side is way too strong.
Anyway, I'm not really arguing with that. To be fair, let's move on to United's rise of the dead. So since we last, we had the famous Chris and the violin incident, the black and white. Now, all of a sudden, Chris is a different man. He's
Much
loving life.
Person.
He looks happier.
So, Chris, what's happened? How have you risen from the dead like this with this United side?
Mate, I wish I knew. I actually wish I knew. It's like, I think the last time we did this was it just before the Brentford game? Because we just lost against Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke in the chat how abysmal that was, like, against Brentford.
Hold on, before you go any further, can you just laugh at how you lost to Bournemouth and then they lost 9-0 to Liverpool?
I know. And that's the thing. That's what's
then
so
United go and
frustrating
beat
about
Liverpool.
But didn't United lose 4-1 as well, or something ridiculous like that?
4-0, I think it was. Yeah. Shocking. But on the flip side of that, like, now what I'm going to say is, whilst we are playing in the last few games, I won't say amazingly, but we're playing it very, very well, I'd say. You can turn that off. I don't care. I'm like happy. There's no sad music going on here. What I will say is, people need to bear in mind, people are saying like, oh, Erik ten Hag has turned his team around. What he's done in the last week has been amazing, which the performances are proving that something is happening within United and it's working. But look back to Ole and that 19-game run that he had when he came in charge. They played absolutely phenomenal for 19 games in a row. And then all of a sudden it just went and disappeared.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't want it to happen, but that's kind of half what I'm expecting. I'm kind of expecting a run of form, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, it'll just go poof. I'm hoping it doesn't. I mean, I do think we've done some okay business in the transfer market. I think Martinez was a really good buy. He looks pretty solid. He looks like he's adapted to the Premier League so far in the game that he's played pretty well. I think he's been our best defender by far in the last couple of games. It was nice to see the new signing Anthony come on in the last game and score on his debut. I don't think it was a particularly great performance from him, but from the first game, it was fine. I don't know whether I would put it down to anything specifically that Ten Hag has done. I think the teams maybe just had a bit more time to gel as a team and work as a team. And I think with what I said on the last video we did with Maguire, get him out, it's worked. Maguire's out, Ronaldo's out. I think bringing Ronaldo in towards the end of the game is working as well, and just giving some fresh legs attacking at the end of the game. I think he's working well. One thing, I don't know how that's going to work in the long run. How long can you keep Ronaldo from starting? I think that's going to become an issue.
I don't. When you're winning games, mate, I don't think you can argue. If he likes Man United,
he's there till January now, either way. So he's got to do what he's got to do.
I don't think Ten Hag cares that Cristiano Ronaldo is at
the club. I don't think Ten Hag cares.
Because Ten Hag is the sort of man that you can, like you said, like, you don't know how they've turned a corner, but I think it's a combination of Ten Hag's tactics and finally getting in certain personnel that he wanted to suit his style of play. I mean, you've way of respect for Anthony. That's obvious, but he said he needed a right-sided attacker, and unfortunately, like, you're gonna have to spend the money that late in the window to get an attacker that you want. And obviously, he knows him from Ajax, so he knows what he's like as a person anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you say you didn't think he had a great debut, but I don't think he could have done much more. He came on, he scored the opening goal, and he's gone off. And he'll only get better. I mean, do you think a couple of months down the line when he's more like in tune with the tactics and what's asked of him, when he's more in tune with the league, because it's a tough league to get used to. I mean, do I think he's going to be one of those wingers that's going to strike the Premier League like on fire? No, I don't think so. But I think will he be a consistent performer for Manchester United and Ten Hag? Yeah, because he's played with him before. He trusts him. He knows what he's going to get with him.
Yeah,
he knows what Ten Hag knows what he's going to get from him.
Yeah, and you know, even at amateur level, we've all played with our mates before. We've joined other clubs, and then your mates 10 years later decides to start a new team. You go back to them. They know how you play. They know what you like. So you know, he also knows what his weaknesses are. So if there's a game that comes up that you think, okay, yeah, no, he ain't the player I need here, he can bring him out and hold him off. Like the fans aren't going to know that. They're just going to see he's holding his brand new signing off. What's going on?
Exactly.
But you know what I mean? It's just, but I think like there's definitely still place for Ronaldo. The other day, he even proved that the other day. You know, you were bringing him on for the last half an hour of the game. That's the last substitute you want to see coming onto a pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I
don't think Ronaldo's a 90-minute player, not in the Premier League. I don't myself see it, and I think because Ten Hag wants he wants like you said, like pressing. He wants to press from the front. Ronaldo's not going to give you that.
Not now. I know he probably could, but I think if he did you'd lose some aspect of his game because he's nearly 38. Do you know what I mean? He's like you got to remember he's not the same player anymore. Different role.
He's still a top player, but he's not.
Oh yeah, I do think he'll go in January though.
If he does, then I still think you will not be any worse off for him going.
No, I don't.
And I think the biggest thing for you guys, I think at the moment that I've noticed is the change in the system at the back of the centre halves as well made a massive difference.
Yeah.
Changing the new players in, changing how you play in the midfield seems to be clicking. Rashford seems to have got a better tune out of Rashford. I always thought there was a mental thing going on with him, and I'd even think he would have been good at going to somewhere like West Ham because Moyes is a very, very man management type of player, and he would get the best out of someone that's not quite in form. And I think
I still think Rashford's got a lot to do to improve his form because I would say I've only really noticed him in that last game.
Yeah.
Before that, he was kind of non-existent. He's kind of needed to find his form again.
But in this last game, Matt, Chris, sorry, this is the first time I've seen United play actually any good this year.
Yeah, let's not forget Arsenal.
No, I would say we put in a good performance against Liverpool. I don't think it was an attack performance, but I think it was an overall good performance. But I would say
an out of form Liverpool.
Probably,
but
I would probably say Arsenal was the next one I was probably most worried about in terms of game fixtures coming up. But I was actually really impressed with the performance against Arsenal. I still think Arsenal played like really, really well, and I think
I
unlucky to not come out with anything from the game.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the way United are playing right now, I think you're slowly getting there. I don't know where the banana skin's going to be because I feel like you're not quite sturdy enough yet. You're still a bit rocky, so there's going to be a few more banana skins. But it seems to be like when you play the top teams. When I say the top teams, I'm saying the inverted commas, the current like top 8 clubs that finished last year. Right, when you're playing teams like that, you see the better players kind of kick their arse in gear.
Yeah,
and like Arsenal was a prime example. Arsenal everyone's saying, "Oh, Arsenal are brilliant." I told you they've not fucking matched anyone yet. You lot saying they're going to be third or fourth or something like that. They've not played anyone yet. They're still like their average age is still like 22 or something ridiculous. They've not had any. Last year they didn't. That's what I was saying. They're a good side. I'm not saying they're not. Odegaard, fantastic player. I love him. I think him and they've got certain players in their side that I think are phenomenal players. But I think when they come up against a team that's more experienced, with more fully international players, with, they will come unstuck. I don't think they'll beat Tottenham either. I think they might get a result against us because they always do. I just think there's some sort of fucking it's like Brighton. We can't get over the Arsenal thing. We can get results against everyone else, but Arsenal for some reason we just can't seem to. I don't know what it is. And I hate Arteta with a passion. He's the worst manager. Fucking drives me mad. Did
you see his interview after the match?
I can't watch him because it just fucking winds me up. It's like I don't like him as much as I don't like Graham Souness, because everything that comes out of that man's mouth fucking winds me up a little. So
Graham Souness.
But anyway,
where do you guys see United finishing in their current form?
In their current form, they can finish in the top 6 easily. Because I don't look at that United side based on the way you played against Arsenal and think there is 8 teams better than you. I'd say maybe there's 5 or 6 teams that are currently better than you. They're not 8 teams, so why can't you finish in them top 7 places?
Yeah, I'm thinking top 5.
I think you need to. You're in top. You're allowed to be optimistic purely because you know what United should be, and what they are, yeah. And for the last 3 or 4 seasons, 2 seasons, they've kind of underachieved. Like, I still don't know how the fuck you finished second under Solskjaer. Still don't understand how that happened, but it did, But with I don't know. I feel like it's going to take a while for you to be competing for any titles.
Oh yeah, we're not.
Yeah, but I think 10
has titles.
As well.
I think he seems to be implementing his thing, and he's the right man. I think you need to give him time. A bit like Arsenal have with Arteta. Arteta has proven that he is a good manager, and I'm not going to say he's a bad manager at all. Because I think what he's done with Arsenal is completely transformed them into being, a very good side again. So I just don't like him as a geezer. It just winds me up.
He knew what Arsenal needed. He needed a proper centre forward.
Passion.
Yeah, and he's not funny. Like I've said in the last podcast, he brought in 2 players from Man City who know how to win things. That's why I would put a lot of money on Arsenal finishing the top 4 this season. I'm convinced.
He's made some very good signings. Arsenal they've done the right thing to get to where they want to get to. They're nowhere near a league title. Nowhere near.
No one's saying they are.
No, but
I mean,
Man
City.
Can they get in the Champions League? Of course they can. But I'd be interested to know when they are playing in Europa League and they get to the latter stages, if they get to the latter stages of the Europa League, when they're playing Jesus and what's-his-face and Martinelli and Partey and Saka, because they need to win that semi-final, and then they've got Man United or Chelsea or West Ham at the following weekend, what are they going to do? Are they going to rest them and play Smith Rowe? Are they going to bring Nathan Miles in? Are they going to be successful that way?
Yeah, but let's not forget, by the time the later stages come, there have been a January transfer window come and gone, and you don't know who they're going to bring in.
That's right. So, you're right in that respect. I kind of think it's all really like. I think it sounds like I've got a thing against Arsenal. I just think people were basing I think it's just because people were basing Arsenal on purely on the start of their season and on their first 11.
But you go back. You said they haven't played anyone, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And up to United game, they have, and they played well against United.
Yeah, they did.
So they did play well, but they didn't play well enough.
I don't think they could have done much more, really.
They didn't win the game.
Well,
I think they came up against a particularly good United team on the day.
Yeah, I mean, they created enough chances. I mean, they took some of their chances. That could have been a 3-3
right.
or 4.
We'll go back to this conversation in a month's time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And in that month's time, hopefully they would have played a few more teams. They could have played Tottenham in that time. They could have played Chelsea in that time. They could have even played us in that time. Liverpool, do you know what I mean? And then if they get some results, then I'll change my opinion and I'll say to them, look, do you know what? Arsenal are the real deal. But until that happens, I just can't get on that bandwagon yet. And
no, that's fine. I mean,
I want to be proven wrong. And it's just it's just an opinion, isn't it? Like you guys, if you think Arsenal have got it to do it, then they can. So I feel like our problem as West Ham is that I feel like we don't just compete against teams; we compete against the man, which is my own thing. But I don't think I'm alone in this. I think Newcastle had the same issue. Any team that Leicester have had the same issue. Even Screwdamore even said, we don't want any more Leicester Cities winning the title. Now, if that doesn't prove like the word out of the horse's mouth, Man United finishing 7th is bad for the brand, doesn't scream like corruption, I don't know what does. But there we go. Who am I? I'm wrong. So anyway, moving on to West Ham's on the rise. Now, I feel like, without trying to be rose-tinted here, because we've had a good couple of results, taken what actually happened in real, like on paper, away. We've had a very good performance against Tottenham in the last game, a very good performance against Chelsea, and we deserved to get something out of both of those games. What we did out of the Tottenham one, we had enough chances to win it, but we didn't. And the Chelsea game, a draw would have been a fair result, because both of those games we defended excellently well. We come off of the back of a Europa League 4-0 or something ridiculous game, finish, win. So our form, if you include Europa League as well, is actually pretty good at the moment, based on performance-wise. So the fan base generally are quite impressed. We've had, we got rid of that fucking 5 at the back bollocks, and we've gone back to a flat 4. We've had Correa, the German player. He's come in. He had a really, really shitty start. He scored. He fucked up in the Europa League for one of the goals, I think. He was at fault for something in the first game he started playing. I don't know which one it was. I can't remember now exactly. And the other day, he was very, very unlucky with the Son thing. Like, Son would have scored either way.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people were arguing that you wrap your foot around the ball and you clear it back the way it comes. But, you know, at the speed of real play time, it's quite hard to just do sometimes to shift your body in the right place. So I'm going to forgive him for that, because the last 2 games, that man has been absolutely unreal in defence. His ball playing out from the back is something that we've not had for a long time. Like, some of them, Zuma's okay. Ogbona's okay at it. Their strengths are kind of elsewhere, but he knows how to thread a ball through the midfield from defence, and we're starting to see all this stuff. He's got pace. Fuck me, I couldn't tell you last time we had pace at the back as centre halves. I couldn't tell you. Rio Ferdinand maybe was the last time we had pace at the back. And I know, well, like, because all of our defenders have been James Collinses, that have been Winston Reeds, that are just like geezers that just, 6'3" and put their bodies on the line. I'll just die for this ball. They don't use their pace. This guy is a bit shorter, but he's quick. He's got the pace. Son, like, had to try hard to get past him because he had the pace. Yeah. Things like that. And the other day, he had another brilliant defensive display the other day against Chelsea. Constant. I think they had like 9 corners in the first half. 9 fucking corners in 45 minutes. All of them. Boom, boom, out they go. So I feel like we're going in the right direction. We've not quite got the results we want just yet. But the next game is massive. We've got Newcastle on Saturday. We've got the Europa League on Thursday, which I can't quite remember the name of the team that we're playing off the top of my head. But we've got Europa League on Thursday. That will be a weakened team anyway. But on Saturday, we've got Newcastle. That is a massive game because I think if we lose that game, I think you could kiss Europe goodbye. Because I think from that point onwards, 6 games in, we've got a lot of fucking catching up to do. And it's not impossible because the gap normally between first, second, third, and then 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th is normally quite big. So they're likely we can catch them. All we would need is a draw against United, say, or a win against United at home, a draw or a win at home against Chelsea, and then those points slowly start creeping back. But our problem is we need to beat the teams that are the inverted commas lesser teams. Now, when we finished 6th 2 years ago, we beat every single team that finished below us, and we struggled against every single team above us, apart from maybe we got 1 or 2 results in that time. And the table kind of then ended up making complete sense. Every team above us ended up beating us.
Yeah.
But last year, we would lose to a shit team and then get a result against Liverpool at home. So it kind of threw spanners in. This year, the way we've started has been so poor and we're getting better and better. I kind of don't know what's going to happen because I think Moyes wants to win this Europa Conference League and we've got to be odds on to win it until the Europa League teams drop out. And I'm not afraid of any Europa League that drops out now because the fact that we beat Lyon and Sevilla and got to that semi-final proves that we're good enough to win the harder competition. So add more quality like Paquetá and Correa and all these other players that we brought in with a depth. Yeah. I think we've got our aim to win that tournament. And by doing that with the better squad depth, we're going in the right direction. I do think we've got some more tests. I think I'm not going to be worried just yet. I think get 10 games in. If we're still not in the top half by 10 games in, then I think it's all or nothing in that Europa Conference League.
Yeah,
I'm not at all worried about relegation because I know we're far too good for that at the moment. Yeah. And that's famous last words. West Ham have gone down like that. But I do generally think that the way Moyes plays, we are too hard to beat to be beaten like a relegated side.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about relegation. We might just have a shit year and finish like 12th or something.
Yeah.
But going forward, I do really think Newcastle game's massive and it could be the game that kicks us on to start rising up with the big boys. United's gone right up the league. They've had 2 wins on the trot now, and it's just propelled them massively. And I think
it's just going to give them more confidence.
Exactly. And the other day, Skamaka wasn't playing because he was ill, right? Cornet, he was on the field for 10 minutes and scores an equaliser against Chelsea. Paquetá, he's played 60 minutes of Premier League football in his entire career so far, and for that whole hour, he's looked like he can do stuff. He's our equivalent of like your Fernandez. Do you know what I mean? So
controls the game a bit more.
Controls the game a bit more, and I do honestly think that we're definitely going in the right place, and I'm positive that this time next month. Positive that we will be in that top half and looking much stronger. And so I don't know, what do you guys look at from the outside perspective? Because obviously you don't watch us religiously like I am.
Mm-hmm. I suppose the key for West Ham would be to see. I mean, you're saying 10 games. See where you are around about Christmas, early January. Yeah. That's the table really sort of takes shape halfway through the season. You sort of know where, by and large, where teams are going to be in their respective positions. I think the business you've done is pretty good. You've been in on. I mean, you haven't got played off the park, have you? Like you said, I'm not worried about you as relegation fodder whatsoever. I think you're far too.
Oh no.
I mean, you could. Do I think you'd be top 10? Yeah. Do I think you'd be top 8? Consistency is key. It all comes down to how consistent you are really throughout the season, and also, but you can't sort of help injuries, suspensions, etc. So if you can keep the nucleus of the squad relatively fit and strong, you could have a successful season, or what you would deem as a successful season for yourselves. So
at the moment we're playing like a mid-table team. Win, loss, draw. Win, loss, draw. There's no consistency. And if we played like how we are at the moment all season, we'd finish 12th or 11th because we're much better than the shit down the bottom, but we're not consistent enough. On our day, we can beat people, but we're not consistent enough to compete up the top. This is why,
like Matt said, though, I think you're still going to finish. I would say 6, 7, maybe. I think that's as high as maybe you're going to go this season. But
see, this is interesting because from your okay, it's quite hard because what do you think is that we need? Like, what would be the difference between, because this is what we were saying last time, between us getting that 5th and 4th?
For me, I think your home form needs to be strong. Like, I think if you drop too many points at home, then obviously that's going to be quite detrimental to where you want to be this season. I mean, I don't talk about West Ham in the bracket of 4th or 5th. I don't think you have.
Oh no, we're probably not.
I don't think you'll have the consistency or the quality over a 38-game season to achieve that. You could, obviously, of course you could, but I don't think so. I think you could go as high as 6th, 7th. I
said 7. I think 7th ideally.
8th, 7th, I would put you as. But I think your home form's key. I mean, you can pick up results. Yeah. I mean, you should have picked up a result away at Chelsea, but you got done by VAR and pissed more of a shit in. So, but I think it goes. I know it's cliche, but it's that old saying: win your home games, don't lose away, and then you'll have a successful season. So, I mean, that's what I think for West Ham.
I think for the next if you're looking at a realistic set of goals, I would say our realistic set of goals is to finish and compete for European spots for the next say 5 years. Okay, consistently compete for European spots, 5th, 6th, and 7th every year, and do our very best at competing in those competitions once we've qualified. Now, our aim this year should be to finish again in a European spot and to win the Europa Conference League and to get into Europa League via that way and get silverware under our belt. Now, for the first time, we've actually got squad depth that's, I think, good enough to do that. The same way for Man United should be looking to win that Europa League. I'm sorry, they should be winning. You should be the favourites of that competition now, before you've even kicked the ball. Yeah. And I think we should be the favourites based on how well we did last year in the Europa League, and we've got a better squad now. We've not got worse, we've got better. We should be favourites to win that Conference League. Now, if the Conference League is our level, that's fine. I'm happy with that. We're in a Europa League competition every year. We could be the Sevilla of fucking Europa Conference League and be that pain in the arse that wins it every year. And the occasional odd season, we have a season off where we go in Europa, we don't do as well, we go back, we finish. But we need to keep this as a club now. This is what we need to do. We might even be 1 year, be very lucky and have that fucking amazing year and get into 4th or something like that. I'm praying one day I'll get to see the glory days of a Champions League game. But we've been so close in the last 10 years on 3 occasions, so close.
Yeah.
That it's not impossible to me. It's not impossible to me.
No, of course
especially now that the form, the transitions of other clubs around us. Tottenham have finally got a world-class manager.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got I say finally. I thought Pochettino was, and they shouldn't have sacked him, to be honest. They were fucking brilliant. That was a brilliant club when they had Pochettino, but they did. And since then, they've kind of been in recovery constantly. Yeah. I finally got that. The whole time you've got Son and Kane in your team, you've got 2 world-class players there already. right?
Yeah.
United, obviously, in a really bad transition. Arsenal have got out of the transition and now on the rise. Liverpool and Chelsea, you know what you get, money, and you've got Klopp as well, right? I don't know, I just think I don't look at any other club now, apart from Liverpool and Man City, and go, well, that's a free hit. I look at United, I look at Chelsea, I look at Tottenham, and I look at Arsenal and say, we should be going at them and we should be winning that game. Especially at home. Away, maybe not so much. At home, definitely. There's under the lights at the London Stadium. No one likes playing us then. And we should be looking to beat them teams at home. Because we up our game. Everyone knows they've got a game against us.
Make your home ground a fortress. That's the key, isn't it? Like, be difficult to beat at home, but play on the front foot, because no one wants to be a home team and sort of play counter-attack or sit behind the ball. Like, you've got to take the game to the opposition. And then away from home, like you said, especially against the bigger boys that, like, you're in for a tough game for, be a bit more compact, If you've gone back to a flat 4, so play a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-5-1. And then
we need to stop giving teams respect, because we've got fucking good players. We've got good players.
Yeah.
Great, we've got fucking quality players. When they're individually, they're good players. They should. I want to see Bowen running at players. I want to see Antonio flattening people. I want to see Rice taking the ball from his own half and running 40 yards up the pitch because he's good enough to.
Yeah.
And we need to stop. We need to stop giving teams like Chelsea respect, because they got no fucking respect. I don't have respect for them. Cheating little bastards.
Yeah, but to be honest, it's not Chelsea. I mean,
when they fucking fall on the floor.
Either see, but you can deceive what you want. The referee and VAR should not have allowed that decision to be wrong.
Anyway, let's get on to the most important thing, Matt. Bristol City are now massive.
Maybe we're fucking massive in the southwest.
I need to sort that out. Hold on, because I've kind of, for some reason, your Bristol City are. There we go. Bristol City are massive. Mate, what's going on with your club at the moment?
Mate, we're just enjoying consistent performances, consistent results. I'm ecstatic.
Not as energetic as I thought he was going to be.
I'm tired from all the celebrations.
Considering every week you're like, fuck sake, you're shit. Fucking what's going on? What's this? Beep. Then, and now all of a sudden, you're like a different man.
It's weird because also I talk to a lot of City mates who, like, we all go up to the games, and I think for the first time under Nigel Pearson, what we're seeing now is that because he's had a chance to sort of get rid of a lot of deadwood at the club, and he's brought in his own players that fits the sort of style of play he wants us to play. So it's not a case of round pegs and square holes. Like, we've really got the players to suit the style of play we want to play, and I think we're just reaping the rewards from it. I think confidence is high. I mean, even last year, I know we conceded so many goals, but we were scoring a lot of goals, and now, like, we got such a wonderful academy. Like, our young striker Tommy Conway's come through our youth ranks. He's just come out of nowhere, and he scored 5 goals, I think, 6 goals in all competitions. I mean, he's assisted as well. Our front three looks incredible. I mean, we scored 16 goals already this season. We're the highest goal scorers in the Championship. We're still conceding 1 or 2 sloppy goals away from home, but if we can sort of nip that in the bud and tighten it up at the back, away from home, because at home we kept 3 consecutive clean sheets. So it's the problem is, like, we've all been here before, City fans, and it is difficult not to get ahead of yourself and think what could be. I've done it, I'm doing it now, but there's a part of me that's trying to calm down and say, look, we're 6 games into the season, we've got about another 38 games to go. We just take it game by game, and we've got some tough tests coming up. We've got Burnley coming up next Saturday. We've got Norwich coming up next Wednesday. We've got Preston at home on Saturday. They lost the weekend, but before that, they've only conceded 1 goal in 6 games. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
are you away, Matt?
Yeah, no, we've got Preston away Saturday.
Saturday. Burnley. Are you away, Burnley?
Yeah, we're at Turf Moor, and Norwich away on Wednesday.
I'm wondering if Jack is actually going to fucking do this podcast, useless bastards, if you and him would be interested in doing a live watch along. Like
it wouldn't be on TV. Well, unless it's on the red button on Sky, then yeah. But I would. I mean, by all means, I'd still, if it was on the red button, like on Sky, then by all means, I'd love.
Because it'd be interesting seeing you two split screen next to each other, just like cursing,
yeah,
and having a conversation of bollocks about what you're watching. That'd be quite funny. But anyway, back to what you're saying. Like, so I feel like whatever's going on at the moment is you need to enjoy it, though, mate. Because
I'm loving it. Absolutely.
I feel like the way you guys are at the moment is how I felt 2 years ago when West Ham made that 6th spot and started playing really well.
Yeah.
And we was just on this constant like wave. We was riding this wave, and it just felt so fucking good. And I'm like, is this what it's like for these clubs every week? You do, but then you get yourself, Matt, into a situation where you have this expectation.
That's
eventually, but there's nothing wrong with having an expectation, because these clubs that do this every year, like your Norwich, like your Watfords, they have that expectation, and that expectation leads to greatness. And if you demand the best, you get the best. You'll get the best, and everyone has to raise their game. And at the moment, Nigel Pearson is clearly demanding the best out of these players, and the people on the pitch. I don't know much about your squad. I only know a few of your players, but there's obviously a couple of leaders on there that are really taking. He's managed to get hold of these leaders and say, right, whatever you're doing at the moment is fucking working. Forward. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
So when Nigel first came in 2 years ago, the squad we had was a combination of journeymen who's played at multiple different clubs. So the heart's not really in it. You know, they're there for the pay packet, if you like. And we had good youngsters, but they needed guidance. What he spent the last 2 years doing is getting rid of deadwood, like players who he knew didn't want to play for the club, didn't want to play for the shirt, who he knew weren't good enough anyway. And he spent 3 transfer windows sort of getting rid of deadwood, as I said. And we haven't been able to spend barely any money because we're under financial restrictions because of our previous CEO who overspent money on fucking players that were just not good enough or just didn't show the quality or the consistency to be successful in our team. So we've had to really sort of buy smart, be cute in the transfer market, and he's brought in some very good free transfers. Kel Naismith from Luton is a fucking pickup and a half. It really is. And he talks, he could easily be captain, but he's not. But it's just another leader in the dressing room, another leader on the pitch that helps our squad and especially our youngsters around him. And we're playing we've actually got an identity to how we play now. The last sort of 2 years, we sort of trying to figure out, were we a counter-attacking team or a pressing team? But now, I was still classed as a counter-attacking team, especially away from home. But if you look at the stats from this season, most of our games we've had more possession. So we're learning how to keep hold of the ball more, and that's down to the players that we brought in. Like Naismith's not an old-fashioned centre half, where we knock it in the rose end to bend it. We play out from the back, but we can switch up. We can play possession based, we can play counter-attack, and we can play high press if we want to, if the right players are on the pitch. And I think the success we've had, because our front three are scoring so many goals and assisting so many goals, it takes the pressure off our defenders, because if we've got a 2-goal lead, it's easier to defend.
Yeah, and also, sometimes it's knowing, sometimes once you've scored a goal, you can be very vulnerable, especially your bloody team. They're the most vulnerable club I've ever known to concede a goal within 10 minutes after they've scored.
Oh, we've still done the same season. There's been a couple of occasions this season where
you've been getting over the line though, mate. Still now, that's the difference this year.
You've been able to turn it around and come back from it.
You've got that perseverance to see a game out that you never. And the thing is, the leaders do make a difference. Like when you go back 2 years to West Ham, right? When we brought Moyes in, right? We had Mark Noble coming to the end of his career. Declan Rice came through the ranks and completely went from a good player, good youth player, to a fully England international, one of the first names on the team sheet. Do you know what I mean? And he's made such a difference. And having that quality surrounded by an amazing captain and leader on the pitch. Mark Noble didn't necessarily lead by his quality as a player, but he led by everything else. Every single, because I've seen behind the scenes stuff, every single like halftime team talk, he made them feel like he was a fan, and the passion behind, what, like that guy did on the Arsenal All or Nothing thing, the boot man or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Those guys fucking love you. They would be put your shirt on, all that sort of stuff. And you had then we brought in Craig Dawson, another brilliant leader. We've got Ogbonna. He's been at our club for 7-8 years now. He's part of the furniture. Another leader. Then you bring in, obviously, Moyes' backroom staff of Kevin Nolan, a West Ham, almost like a West Ham legend. Stuart Pearce, West Ham defender legend. Yeah. Then you bring all these different things into the equation. You're going to get a team that's want to fight for each other. And you guys now have actually started to get that. And I think even if you do drop off a bit, I don't think you're going to fall much further than like 8th or 9th. If you did, I don't think you will. I think you're good enough now. You're showing you're good enough, and you're getting the home consistency to stay up that end of the table, which I've not seen from you guys for a while.
The reason I'd say I'm pessimistic about it is, it's not pessimistic, probably the wrong word, but I'm more realistic, is that we haven't got a massive squad. We're 1-2 injuries away, especially in midfield, from borderline crisis.
Disaster. Yeah.
I mean, we wanted to bring in 2 more players, but we couldn't because of the financial restraints at the club. We'd have to sell before we brought in. And I think the best bit of business we've done this summer transfer window, apart from bringing in Naismith from Luton, is not losing any of our best players. Semenyo's we rate him so highly.
You need to keep Wayman as well, and players like that.
These were players that were talked about leaving the club, but we've not sold any of our big players. Like Scott stayed, Semenyo stayed. Bowman, I was never worried about Bowman anyway going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Hanno Masenga, I know he's out of contract at the end of the season, but he was talked about leaving, but he stayed. So I mean, we've brought in genuine quality on free transfers, which I just think makes it even better. But we've also got players that are so good for us that any other season would have gone, but we've managed to keep them at least until January. If we can keep the nucleus of the squad relatively fit, injury-free going forward, I don't see us as a 6th, 7th, or 8th. I think what people fail to understand with the Championship is that it's a 46-game season. It's not 38 games like in the Premier League. It's Saturday, Tuesday consistently. It takes its toll.
I guess it's not much different to Europa Thursday, Sunday, is it really, in a way?
Exactly. So I mean, I still think, like I say, if we go on current form, we could be right up there. But I think over the season, take away like injury suspensions, I can see us around about 11th, 12th, and that sounds so negative considering how well we're doing. But I understand Championship football. I understand the toll it takes and how hard it is mentally, physically. But at the moment, like we're just enjoying the ride. We're loving life.
You should, mate. I think it's good. It's good. Definitely good to see you guys competing. Like, it makes me happy because I know how shit you've gone through in the last sort of 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of me saying, City are going to get promoted and Burnley are going to win the league. It's kind of made me think, you know what? I'm on the right track. Chris, going to we was talking about leadership there. Do you think something's starting to turn at United? Because that's one thing I think that you guys lacked. There was no leaders at all. No one knew their fucking job, did they?
No. And I mean, there's always been leaders in the team. What I would say are not captain leaders. Like, I would say Bruno Fernandes is quite a big character in it, I think. But I think Maguire's the wrong captain for the team. I don't think he should be captain. And I just think a few more players are now starting to come in the squad and maybe they spent more time together. I still think Bruno is still maybe the heart of that midfield at the minute, but I do think Christian Eriksen has brought a lot to that midfield, especially with his crossing ability and stuff like that. I just think it's starting to gel a bit more with Maguire out of that team now. So yeah, I still think we've got leaders, but I still think there's a lot of room for improvement and things we could still bring in January.
I mean, one thing you haven't mentioned is the signing of Casemiro, like a serial winner.
He is. I'm intrigued to see how he adapts to the Premier League and United. That's why I'm a bit quiet on Casemiro at the minute.
Yeah, he had a proper fuck up the other day. Did you see that?
Yeah.
But he does sometimes. It is hard, like adapting to our Premier League
player. You know what I mean? There's no doubt in his quality and his skill and his what he's done in the past. But
sometimes it don't click. Look at Varane.
Yeah, it's just with his age and everything else. I'm just holding my breath to see how he adapts.
I mean, I suppose if you want to be honest, the only reason United overpaid and signed him is because they spent all fucking summer trying to get Frankie de Jong and just never wanted to go there anyway. So, I mean, United know they needed a holding midfielder, and they knew they'd about
signing for me.
Oh, yeah, it came out
when it came in. Yeah.
Sorry, Anthony, that was only sort of touted the last sort of 2 weeks of the transfer window, but he knows, like I said earlier, he needed a right-sided attacker. He knows him from his Ajax days. He trusts him, so
I think he'll be a good player, actually, Anthony. I think he's going to turn out okay.
Right, we've got two things to talk about because Chris has not got long left. So let's quickly stream over Burnley because Jack's not here. Burnley are playing massive as well. Been really performing well in the league, haven't they, Matt? Are you you anxious about playing them next week?
Not anxious about it, no, because I know we got goals in us, so I'm not worried about that. I mean, we're not going to go out there and outplay them. They're far too good. They got far too many quality players and a young quality manager who's got them playing the way he wants. Well, I'll take a point up there if you offered it me now. Yeah,
definitely.
Let's get through the next two games and see where we are. But no, I'm not anxious about playing them. I don't think we should be anxious about playing anyone because we know we can score goals. So, I mean, we're sitting fourth. They're sitting. I think they're below us, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't think they've even at their peaks yet. Like no team in Championships really started hitting their peak. So
your form's very similar, actually. Couple of draws, couple of wins. Yeah, I think that's a good game to call a draw on if you're a betting man.
Do you know what I love about that league table? What I love is that we're sitting fourth, but we're surrounded by 3 or 4 clubs who are relying on, I don't say relying, but they're in receipt of parachute payments. So, and we're breaking the trend of early onsetters of being successful high up the table, but not relying on parachute payments.
Yeah, you need to knock these bad boys off.
No chance. I mean, they're too good. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't expect.
I'll shot Norwich up there.
Yeah, what shot? Yeah, well, they're the yo-yos of the Championship and Premier League.
I know. Mate, I'm fully confident that you can keep in this. If you're not, I don't think you're going to fall under this. I honestly don't, unless you get an injury. On the current form you're on, a couple of draws, a couple of wins. I think this would be great. I'd be so buzzing for you if you got in that playoffs. I'd be so buzzing. I know you would because you're a fan. You're going to be absolutely like over the moon. But if you got into that, I'd be so like buzzing for you. But you never know. We'll see. When Christmas comes, we'll have a bit more of an idea, won't we? Anyway, so last final thing to talk about is going to be
Fantasy Premier League.
So James is doing very well. How are you two boys doing?
I actually did really well last week. I think I got the most points out of the league, the leagues that we're in last week.
Yeah.
I think what I got. But I think in our league for this, we're still second. Not far behind you now, James, actually.
You're not?
I'm on 383, you're on 390, so not too far.
Yeah, I did see last week that James was running away with it.
I caught him up this week. I got quite a few points this week.
How many did I get? I ain't checked this weekend.
I got 88 points last week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I think most people had a bit of a bad week because of just the way the Premier League went,
Yeah.
I made a few snap changes at the beginning of the week, and it seemed to have paid off.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm currently. Let's have a look. Right, so based on my league position, I am currently first in most of my leagues, but I've now gone into second place on my Pretty Bubbles podcast league. Annoyingly, I was top spot for that, but the person that's gone top got 60 points. Got basically 26 points more than me. So I've had a bit of a mare there, but generally, I've took Mendy out because he keeps getting injured and booked, and he's bit conceding a few more goals. I think most of my players, like De Silva, got 1 point. Salah, out of form, got 3. Jesus didn't score. Martinelli didn't do anything. Ward-Prowse didn't
Martinelli
score.
did. Got 10 points from Martinelli, didn't we?
I only got 2 for him. My Martinelli only got 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, didn't really do much. So I just had a bad week. But this week, I've got De Bruyne in my side now. I took out of form Salah. You watch him score fucking a hat-trick now.
Always the way, isn't it?
It is always the way. It's always the way. But, it is what it is.
I think Matt's got the most points this week so far.
But Liverpool have got to play against Wolves at home. So the chances are, he could score. Man City have got Spurs at home. But I don't know. Maybe I've made a bit of a mess up there. But you never know. Every time I think I'm doing something right, it ends up being something wrong. So there's no harm in sort of taking that gamble, is there? But yeah, I'm doing really well this year. Everyone seems to be doing okay. Matt, you really need to check your team.
Yeah, I do, to be honest.
Although you're not doing anywhere near as bad as what Jack's doing. 2 goals, 1 schlup. Yeah, he clearly hasn't checked his team at all.
No.
But yeah, I'm happy to be at top of the old leaderboard.
Are you ready for the 30th of October, James?
Well, what's going on there?
That's Man U West Ham.
Is it? Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Sunday as well.
I'm not worried.
Yes, he's worried. He's terrified, really.
Not worried at all.
That would be.
Not worried at all. Nothing wrong. I think, we're good enough to beat you, so I'm not really bothered. I think a draw would probably be, if we play how we do against Tottenham and Chelsea, then a draw is going to be like odds on, isn't it? If we, pull our finger out, then we could beat you. It depends on how we catch you on the day. Is it home or away? Yeah. Is it Old Trafford?
Yeah, I think we've got our home, I think.
If it's at Old Trafford, then you might win. I think if it was at London Stadium, I think we might win. So I think it's just one of those situations. But yeah, I don't know. Let's finish there, guys. It's been a great podcast. If you are new to the channel, please drop us a little thumbs up and a subscribe. That'd be really good. Find us on Twitter at the FFC podcast, I think it is, at Twitter. And then, see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.